I see you're stretching your grammar and vocabulary muscles. Good. You're telling me, look at my grammar. There. Yeah. Now look at my vocabulary. Good. Hi there, and thank you for submitting your essay at IELTS Juice. Let's look at the rubric. The rubric says, Learning English, a topic very close to my heart. At school is often seen as more important than learning local languages. So what we're dealing with here is that you have your first language, your mother tongue. May it be Espanol, Portuguese, Brazilian, Arabic, Chinese, Mandarin, more than English. Normally, people assume that you should value the mother tongue more than English, more than other languages, because that's the mother tongue. Some countries have two formal languages. For instance, Singapore, I guess Chinese and English are both formal languages. But anyway, what I mean is that in some places, learning at school is often seen as more important. So learning English at school is more important than learning local language. I insist, because this gap, this one is valued more than this one, is like a very important element for our development. We need to show this gap exists, and then we need to address whether it is okay or not okay based on the question, or we agree with it or we disagree with it, or we basically question the whole thing and we say no, such a thing does not exist. So this gap, this grammar, more important than learning a local language or local languages, is key here. If these are not taught, many are at risk of dying out. If these languages are not taught, many of these languages, mother tongues, are at risk of dying out. Dying out might be a phrasal verb you are not very familiar with. You can, as IELTS, you can somehow understand the meaning that, yeah, they will die. But in reality, it is more close, or it is closer, it's more connected to go extinct, meaning they will no longer be found. Nobody will be able to utter or say any word from that language anymore, because it's just now either written or it's just in some books and some museums probably. All right, I think we were able to understand the topic. Let's look at the question. The question is a tricky one. In your opinion, is it important for everyone to learn English? Now, here's a question. Should anybody learn English? If so, is it important? Is it important? And then we have a question. Should we try to ensure the survival of local languages? Okay, some languages die out. Should we ensure the survival? Should we help them survive? Or no? It's something natural. You know, like anything, like human beings, they are born and then they die. That's it. And if so, how? And this how is very open-ended. Very open-ended. You can respond when how means in what way, what method, in what form, by which people. You can respond in any way you want. I would like to see, because this is an opinion essay, so we're not talking about other people's opinion. It's not discussion. We're not going to attack some other groups and then prove them wrong and bring them and come back. We have a lot of questions actually to answer. This is the first one. We need to say whether it is important or not. Then we need to say what we can do. Is there anything we can do to make to help these languages live longer? And if there is a way, how? Let's look at the response now. Everyone is taught English at school nowadays. Really? Everyone? Everyone? Like my 56-year-old mechanic, my neighbor, who's also my neighbor, is taught English at school. Does he go to school at this age? So everyone is a bit too generic. We're not talking about everyone. We're just focused on school children. These are the younger generations to learn mother tongue and the English language, and we want to make sure which one is more important for them. But this is considered more important than teaching local languages. Okay. Now we present the audience, our audience, in this case, the examiner, the topic. So we paraphrase the rubric in very well. That's a very good opening. If people don't study them, they can fade away. We're again generalizing. We're saying people, not all people. We need to focus on certain people, the people who speak that language in that region, the people who associate themselves with a certain nation. Those people, if the people who are from that society no longer decide that they no longer study the language of that society, then the language of that society will fade away. I mean, you cannot say the language can fade away. Fade away means die. You cannot say, yeah, language, high language, you can die now. Thank you. Go ahead and die. You can. Doesn't mean anything. Imagine you put a banana on a table. After 2 weeks, the banana can die. I mean, can go bad, or the banana will go bad. I mean, it's obvious that the banana will go bad. It's not a matter of the banana can, or maybe the banana doesn't want to, and it stays the same on the table after 2 weeks. You come to the table, the banana decided not to go bad, so the banana didn't listen to you. Can is not a good discourse marker. It's not a discourse marker. A good modal verb here. So can is not a very good modal verb here. We should remove it with something like they will fade away. If you are not that 100% sure, you can say they might fade away. That also is okay. And be completely forgotten. Good word. I see you're stretching your grammar and vocabulary muscles. Good. You're telling me, look at my grammar. There. Yeah. Now look at my vocabulary. Good. I believe that English is a fundamental subject to learn so as to develop communication skills worldwide. Good sentence. I love it. Not just because of vocabulary and grammar. I like this. In the introduction here, you're telling me that the essay is going to be about my opinion. So this is what I believe. It's very strong. However, it is also important to protect local languages. Correct. As they are essential to communicate in people's hometowns, we need to generalize, or home countries. Again, we need to generalize. Because we say people, because this one is generalized. If we wanted to be specific, then we needed to say in a nation's hometown or home country, or in every nation's hometown or home country, or any society or a community. We could have used these words to help us convey the message we want. I like the introduction. I really like the introduction. It doesn't give me an order of elements that will come ahead, but it gives me a generic idea of what to expect. Now we can start with the body paragraphs. The first body paragraph. English is a very important subject. Oh gosh, I don't like this structure. I don't like it. There's nothing bad about this. I I I keep hearing this from many people, and it's very important. How important? Can we be a little bit more specific? Like English is significantly, fundamentally, uh, like imperative, an imperative subject when students study at primary school. You know, this is very generic. Yeah, I mean, when we write, we have some time to come up with some better, more sophisticated, detailed structures. So, yeah, I mean, please. In fact, students learn it from elementary school. Okay. One of the main reasons why English is we need to say such an important topic, or so important. We cannot use such with an adjective, is that it is considered something. Something is considered something else. You basically, you do not need as. It's considered a language known by everyone around the world. So if someone needs to talk with a foreign person but does not know his language, they can communicate anyway by speaking English and be sure to understand each other. For instance, a student goes to Berlin on holiday. Yeah, on holiday is the fixed element. It's a chunk. You go on holiday. And yeah, basically, I don't know why we have, although creates a complex structure before although, after although, we do not need any commas. Although he isn't able to speak German. Maybe although is not the best fit here. I think you wanted to say, for instance, a student goes to Berlin on holiday despite not knowing how to speak German. Or if you wanted to separate this with from the previous element, like a student goes to Berlin on holiday, semicolon, you forget all this, and you put a semicolon. And then you continue by saying, although he isn't able to speak German, this is weird, he isn't able to, although he cannot speak German, he can talk to local people using English. Yeah, this is redundant. This is redundant and will be understood with no problem. That's a good example. Somebody goes to, I mean, somebody like a student goes to Berlin. That's a very good example. And that student does not know how to speak German, but at the same time, he knows English, and he will be able to speak English and communicate with the German, with the local people, with the German population. Okay, good example. And we addressed the first question here. Is it important? Yes, it is important. How? Because you can communicate with other people. We supported that. The next body paragraph, I suppose, will continue with the second part of our question. However, we have to consider that we live in our own country, not abroad. So we are more likely to speak in our mother tongue. Mother tongue is enough. Mother tongue is not a language. I mean, mother tongue. Tongue here means language. So you don't need to create this structure rather than in English. Correct. As a consequence, I kind of don't like this topic sentence. It's rather too soon. I preferred a topic. In the topic you introduced that, okay, now mother tongue is also important, and you just start, I would understand that this would be the second body paragraph focusing on the second part of the question in our rubric. You know what tells me that? This part. After the first sentence, we immediately reach the result, which is a bit too soon, you know? As a consequence, it is equally important to study and master our local language. Okay. Why do we say our and we? Okay, it's in line. It's in line, but we changed a little bit our perspective. Maybe I will understand towards the end. Rather than English, okay, so our local language. A person living in Italy, for example, will spend most of his time speaking in Italian or in Italian dialects. Yeah, if we say or, then to is extra, really. The message is not very well. To communicate with other citizens. You can use compatriots if you don't know the word with your fellow country people, countrymen. Again, would work. So it is essential to know these languages perfectly. A way to ensure that local languages can survive could be that to improve the way they are taught in schools and to provide more competent teachers. Okay, I'm a bit lost. You know, this happens because we are not segmenting our paragraphs very well. We just focus on one topic. We look at a paragraph as a blob. It's like, okay, there's a blob. And here we just need to add anything we know. And it doesn't matter which idea comes where. There is no inner organization. And I, as a reader, all of a sudden see a sentence like this. These are two elements. Providing competent teachers is one idea. Improve the way they are taught in schools is another idea. These are two separate ideas. Both of them are related, good ideas, but we need to devote more sentences to them. And each single one of these two requires development, meaning more sentences and examples. In fact, teachers are the most responsible for students' knowledge, and if they don't teach local languages properly, that is their fault. They could, for pronoun, pronoun, pronoun. Uh, I'm in the middle of that, they, their, them. I'm swimming in. And what's the topic? Between teachers and students. You definitely agree with me that it can easily confuse the reader. If they don't teach, I assume this means teachers. If teachers don't teach local languages properly, that, meaning not being able to teach languages, is their fault. I hope you mean it is the teacher's fault, not the children's fault or the student's fault. They could, for I have no idea whether this refers to teachers or to students. I have to read. They, I don't know who, could, for example, propose more practical lessons. God knows who now, where students can practice the language by speaking to their classmates. So I'm gonna assume that teachers themselves are going to propose more practical lessons to themselves so that students can practice those new lessons and improve their language skills. Confusing, a bit confusing. I want you to see how I struggle when I read some of these words. Oh, we're done. That's the conclusion. To conclude, despite English being an essential subject for students' skills, it is not more important than other ones, like local languages, as they, hopefully this they refers to local languages, are essential in people's daily communication, and they need to be taught as well. Okay, and okay. More practical lessons could be a solution to ensure their survival. Um, I like the last sentence. There is room for improvement for the last one. Instead of saying more practical lessons, we could name the practical lessons we mentioned here. Oh, which is, oh, I just understood what you meant. More practical lessons are these. Yeah, this one, the teachers propose more practical lessons. More practical lessons could be a solution to ensure their survival. Okay, in that case, we're fine. Good, good. Very, very good, solid conclusion. 367 words. Let's look at the band descriptors. Okay, I'm very happy with task response. Yes, there were some elements we needed a little better supporting ideas. There were overgeneralization in many areas. Overgeneralization. Some areas we need to generalize. Sometimes we need to generalize. But when we overgeneralize and we include everybody, and all the people on the planet is an example for us, then it is rather overgeneralized. We also addressed all questions in the rubric, so that's job well done. Very good. I'm very happy with task response. In coherence and cohesion, we had some transition issues, cohesive devices when one sentence connects to the other sentence. And we had a couple of referencing issues where there were too many references that I had to just say, okay, this one is it refers to, it refers to teachers. Or wait a minute, oh, it refers to students. And I had to actually improvise or try to digest what they are. Our paragraphs are blobs of information, a bubble, and we just poured in all of our data. Internal organization is not 100% there. As for vocabulary and grammar, the range is great. There are some grammatical, I mean, definitely in case of grammar, we have very good complex structures. In case of vocabulary, we do have a few less common lexical items, all good. But we had a number of errors, and a number of errors are very visible. The quality of errors is not that bad, especially for grammar. The quality of errors is fine. I can understand you just fine. It's just the number is a bit high. And the same thing goes for lexical resource. So this essay will stay at 6. It is, it needs a bit more work. We need to focus on organizing sentences inside paragraphs more accurately. And we need to work on better topic sentences. And at the same time, we should minimize the number of our errors. And at the same time, keep all the ranges for all grammar and vocabulary the same. If we do all that, 6.5 is achievable. There is work to be done. I hope you start working on them. Until then, take care.